Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I'm gonna do something that I don't usually do, and it's a meta snapshot right before an update. And I'm gonna explain really quickly why I don't usually do this and why this is an exception, and then we're gonna get into the list. So I do these meta snapshots to provide you guys with a quick way of assessing the top characters in the game in order for you to do a couple of things. You can, of course, prioritize your next few investments in terms of characters. You can prioritize or set up different obelisks or ISOs for those characters that you've already built but you haven't finished gearing them out, buying uniforms, and also to see where you could maybe be maximizing your roster more, whether it's World Boss Ultimate, Shadowland, Timeline, or something like that. And it consists of not only my opinions on characters, but also the way that I see characters being used. And the reason why I usually don't ever do it right before an update is because it's about to change. We know Deadpool's going to be a great character. Obviously, he's an Epic Quest leader. The last two Epic Quests, Wolverine, Doctor Strange, those were all meta shifting characters. So there's no doubt that Deadpool's going to be one of those characters, perhaps with new skills, perhaps with new effects or passives to boot. So that is why it normally doesn't make sense to do a meta snapshot right before an update. But in this case, I wanted to because, well, I haven't. The last time we did one was about 2 months ago at the beginning of June, and frankly, quite a lot has changed. The reason why I didn't make a meta snapshot, say, a week ago or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, is that a lot of these changes happened incrementally, slowly. And I think for a lot of players, their roster goals and their roster focus has kind of shifted day by day, week by week, to World Boss Ultimate. I think World Boss Ultimate is the new barometer, the new best measurement for character effectiveness, because of the fact that we have 4 and possibly more very soon different stages where you need to test your ultimate builds for characters, but also because it gives us tier 3 materials, and those tier 3 materials are the building blocks for the most powerful characters in the game. So it only follows that, as we see more of these tier 3 characters and we really come to fully grasp their power level, especially when you're talking about the new tier 3s, Ant-Man and Thor, things really start to shift. So we're going to jump right into the new list. We're not even going to talk about the old list because I have all of the numbers here for all of the characters. You'll still be able to see where characters moved in relation to where they were. Now we're going to start at the top as we normally do, and boy, is it a biggie. The Queen herself has been dethroned, and this one was something that kind of creeped into my head a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, man, every single game mode where I play Scarlet Witch in, she totally outshines Jean Grey. The only exception to that rule is PvP, is Timeline Battle, where Jean Grey is still unequivocally the Queen. So it does make it a little bit harder to unilaterally say Scarlet Witch is better, but the fact is Scarlet Witch can do basically any World Boss Ultimate stage. She's obviously not that great against Proxima, but she completely owns stages for Ebony Maw and Corvus and also Cull Obsidian way better than any other character combined. And because of that fact, she can do 3 out of 4 days flawlessly and basically 4 out of 4 days with some issue, because she's essentially the #1 striker in the game on every single team. When you're not using her as a character, you're using her as a striker, it's just no doubt in my mind. In addition to that, over Jean Grey, she's got a uniform, which is a huge stat boost, gear 25 and level 70. You're going to see that become a theme quite a bit over the course of the rest of this list, that level 70 and gear 25 does actually make a difference for a lot of these characters. The only ones that it doesn't make a difference for as much are the ones that are very defensively minded. So very quickly, if we dive to the bottom, I brought down, I lowered their ranking for Corvus and Hulk, because while they are both level 70, they both have uniforms, they both have level 70, gear 25, they're very defensive-minded characters. They don't produce a lot of damage. They're not good at high-level World Boss Ultimate, so they cannot compete there anyways, even with all of those buffs. And that's why even characters like Cull Obsidian, despite the fact that I said he was probably a little bit better than Hulk, isn't on this list. Part of the reason why he's not on this list, not even as an honorable mention in this case, because I don't have an honorable mention, is because he doesn't get as many buffs. He's not available for the Coulson buff and other buffs that are hero-specific, where he can't take advantage of that, whereas Hulk can. Moving along the list, Jean Grey moved a couple spots. Captain America stays the same. Thor vaults up 15 spots, the huge jump for Odinson, and naturally this is due to his tier 3 skill and his huge stat boost, and we didn't see it at first. A lot of people were underwhelmed by his tier 3 skill, but now with more testing, again, just like Scarlet Witch, he dominates multiple World Boss Ultimate stages. He can do 4 out of 4 days, although he does have a little bit of difficulty at plus 30 for some of these days, but he can still do plus 30 Corvus, plus 30 Ebony. Of course, he melts that guy's face, and that is a big plus for the character. Sure, he's still not amazing in PvP, but he's useful, and he has a ton of HP, so he can tank a lot of hits, kind of like a discount Captain America. Moving along, I moved up Thanos specifically for his PvP prowess. Although he struggles quite a lot in World Boss Ultimate, I see him on as many timeline teams, PvP teams as possible. He is probably the most annoying character to fight in PvP because of his auto iframe 4th skill and just how tanky he can be defensively, and even taking the full force of Jean Grey's 5th plus 4th skill plus a damage proc, he doesn't die. And of course, it matters, because you might think to yourself, I killed plenty of Thanoses in timeline. Go check their gears. You will not kill a gear 25 level 70 Thanos easily. Very much different than a gear 20 Thanos. Believe me, I fought them, and it's terrifying. Moving on, I moved Winter Soldier and Spider-Man up a couple of spots because of just their dominance. Winter Soldier is seeing still a lot of play in PvP. Had to move down Apocalypse because of that. Had to move down Quicksilver again because of that. Again, seeing less and less of these characters outside of World Boss. And even for World Boss Ultimate, Quicksilver struggles a lot since his, fix to his 4th skill. Apocalypse is still good, but he has some targeting issues that make using his character frustrating. And of course, he is everyone's most hated character for ABX. Then we've got Nova coming in at number 10. You guys are probably going to disagree with me here. I just don't really have anywhere else to put Nova. He should be a little bit higher because of how powerful he is in PvP, but I haven't even seen a lot of videos or heard a lot of people talking about his power in World Boss Ultimate. I don't have a damage proc on him personally, but there's something that still feels uneasy to me, or I'm unsettled by the idea of him clearing Stage 30 World Boss Ultimate. If any of you guys know, maybe Corvus would be my best guess for Nova, but outside Corvus, are there any other stages he can clear at level 30? At stage 30, rather. Possibly Cull Obsidian, but that would be the end. So only 2 out of 4 for Nova. Does drag him down a little bit. Doctor Strange stays the same, and frankly, I wanted to bring him up higher because he is so annoying. Again, Gear 25, level 70, Mythic Uniform, very hard to kill, and there's still some kind of weirdness going on with one of his skills where he interrupts you mid-iframe, almost as if he had Ignore Iframe. You know, Ignore Iframe, that skill that only, 3 characters have? Winter Soldier, Nova, and Cyclops. So if Netmarble has something to tell us, I'm all ears, because Doctor Strange is doing some funky stuff in PvP. Moving along, I had to find a place for Ant-Man and Iron Man, and so I moved them up just a little bit. I think Iron Man is still very strong offensively, but then he struggles defensively, and because he doesn't deal elemental damage, he can't do Ebony, and so he kind of, fits into that same box, kind of like Nova, with just less utility because he doesn't have the penetration. To show you guys how serious I am about this list, I moved up Luna Snow beyond Wolverine, and this basically boils down to the world boss situation that I've been explaining to you. While Wolverine may still be usable for PvP, I think he pales in comparison to Captain America defensively as a tank, as a damage sponge. He probably even pales in comparison to Blue Marvel, who's on this list. But because of that, he doesn't do much in World Boss Ultimate to counterbalance that. Whereas Luna Snow can do 3 out of 4 stages in World Boss, no problem. And she's a great striker a la Scarlet Witch. And so that's why you're seeing even my beloved Logan move down on this list to be consistent. We got Cable. We had to move down Blue Marvel and Spider-Man 2099. I put the 2 of them together because they pretty much the same character. Not very good for PvE, still very good for PvP, but I'm starting to see them less and less on timeline teams, which is the primary place that you would see them. I don't play Alliance Conquest, so I don't have a lot of information about that. I imagine they're still as annoying as they always have been, but because they don't have level 70, because they don't even have uniforms, they're starting to fall behind these characters, and because they can't compete at high levels of World Boss Ultimate, they don't have that burst damage. They're kind of left in an awkward position, but I still wanted to notice them. Then a couple of interesting ones. I moved Ebony Maw up quite a lot because of his mind control, because of his passive that applies to the whole team. Sorry, the uniform ability that applies to the whole team, and the fact that he allows himself to buff while simultaneously being a leadership. So it's almost as valuable as someone like Shuri. And I think with the difficulty of things kind of ramping up at higher stages of World Boss Ultimate, characters like this are going to become a lot more useful than we think. Moving along, I slotted in Ant-Man Tier 3 at number 20. You guys might disagree with me. You think Ant-Man's terrible. Remember, this is a character at their highest possible potential. So take mine as an example. I can do beyond stage 30 of Corvus Glaive for Ant-Man's World Boss Ultimate. I can also do probably around stage 30 or 31 for Proxima, so he can do a minimum of 2 days, in addition to being somewhat of a headache in PvP and an absolute monster if you don't have Ignore Dodge, and basically unstoppable without Ignore Dodge. Then Black Panther and Angel I moved up. Black Panther moved up because level 70 gear 25. Angel moved up because, frankly, whenever Jean Grey is not a character available, whenever she's restricted, Angel sees so much play, it's insane. He's a great character. He's got enough survivability, lots of iframes to annoy, and the leadership is just beautiful. And the damage is not bad either. So he's honestly a sleeper pick for possibly a top 10 character if he gets a very good uniform in this update or in the future. Rounding out the list, I slotted in War Machine at number 24. A lot of you guys are going to be surprised, but for those of you that build up War Machine, like the police and the fire department, with level 70 gear 25, you will see big things. His damage is nuts. He can clear stage 30 Proxima Midnight, and he can probably get close to stage 30 Corvus as well. So he is not a joke. This is not a kind of April Fools in August kind of prank. He's definitely a monster. Shuri stays the same because she's just very good. I wanted to move Shuri Baby up, but I just didn't have any space to. And then the last 4 or 5 rounding out the list there, Sharon Rogers, Corvus, and Dormammu. We've already talked about Hulk. And then Odin. They just moved down because everybody else has to move up, and there's no space for any of these characters. Frankly, Sharon Rogers is kind of hurt by the fact that she has a divided damage. Because a lot of her skills deal both energy and physical, it makes her poor against basically all World Boss Ultimates. It's not that she can't do them. She can definitely do them, but she falls behind some of these other characters that can really focus down with all physical, Corvus and Proxima, or energy / elemental to Cull Obsidian and Ebony Maw. So because of that, she falls behind, although her damage is still outstanding. And then, of course, Dormammu and Odin, we kind of know this story already. Corvus, we've talked about, he kind of suffers from the same thing as Hulk, which is a lack of damage. Gone from the list are Loki and Magneto. So with that, we've concluded another top 30 meta snapshot right before the Deadpool update. Let me know what you guys think of the list. Let me know what you think of my decisions and my kind of choices for certain characters. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.